How to make a texture array. This is the way that I've done it. I have a plugin for Paint.net which helps me greatly. What have we got? Made some new country road paths. We'll get back to that. So take a look at what textures you want to build into the array. Get an idea of the size. This is 1024 by 1024. So if we start with the new one here, then what we want to do is basically make this canvas the next stage up. So 1024 by 1024, so the next one's going to be 2048. So what we're going to do is go to image canvas size, and then the height we want to be 2048. So this gives us another space to bring in the next one. So the next one then we'll bring in is the old beam diffuse. So if I then go layer, import from file, go into my textures folder and import that, then deselect it, go to effects. I have this a plugin called Object Align, and then I just go vertical bottom and it will put it down the bottom. And then what I do is just go image canvas size. So maths is absolutely useless, so we need to go up the next stage. So 1024 plus sorry, not 1024, is it? It's 2048. Well, I suppose it would be 1024 plus 2048, 3072. So we want to go 3072, and then this will give us the next space that we can put another layer in. So we then get our old war diffuse, which will bring it in at the top, deselect it, effects, object align, vertical bottom. Make sure I'm on the right one. Vertical bottom, there we go. I think I clicked vertical top by mistake. What we got here? Yeah, so now we have our first array, and then we can just call that whatever we want. So we'll just go save as, and then just call it array or whatever you want. So I will just go array underscore diffuse, and then save that, dxt1 with bitmap, and we flatten everything, and we're done with that one. So that's our first array, and then you would do exactly the same for the normals and the speculars. So then when you actually go into Blender and work with the array, what you have to do is line up the UV with the texture, part of the texture that you want to colour. So to keep it relatively simple, if I just bring in a cube here, and we'll just go up one and then lock the rotation at the bottom there. So if you want to do this, we'll just go simple unwrap, nothing too fancy. If we come over to here, they're all layered upon each other, top of each other, but that's okay, it doesn't really matter. What am I doing here? Didn't want to do that, I wanted to move it that way. That's, yeah, okay. So what we want to do then is, now that we've got this unwrapped, we'll add our material. We'll just do whatever, that's fine. And because we can use multiple materials, doesn't matter if they're on top of each other, because each one will be mapped across the different area of the actual array. Now theoretically you could just have them all as one material, because when I bring the texture in, so if I bring in the texture, and we'll go to desktop, textures, array, and then if I actually open the array here so we can see it in all its glory, what we can do then is select what face we want to texture for whichever part of it, and then just scale the texture, scale the actual UV down to whichever part. So if I add in a Hemi, so we can just see the actual material here. Obviously at the moment it's all a mishmash because the UVs are unwrapped all over the place. So what we want to do is just scale this against whichever part of this. So what we will do here is just select that one face and then just go S and Y to scale only on the Y, and you can see now it's just got that one texture on that face because I've scaled the UV down to that part of the array. And that's the beauty of that side of things. Just makes it much better. And if I then go G and Y, I can move it up to this one here, which will then basically put that only that texture on there. And then I can come around to this face and then just go S and Y, scale this one down to the appropriate size. Something like, come on now, play the game. S and Y, and we'll scale this one down to something like that. So I have that one on that face on that texture. Then we can have this one here, S and Y, and we scale it down. And then I can just go G and Y and bring this one down and have it across the wall. And then if I don't like the way that the wall is going because it's the wrong way around, I just go R and 90, enter, and now the wall's facing the right way. Now sometimes what you'll find is the actual it's not quite scaled. The blocks might be too small or too big, but the way that this tends to work is that as long as you've got the actual up and down, the height of it in the right place against your image. Now these images are from Giants, so they're actually really good, to be honest with you. So they're a little bit more forgiving in certain instances. But what you could do is just go S and X and then scale it out this way, or inward like that if you wanted the blocks to be bigger or smaller or whatever else. So you might have to have a bit of a play around with the X scaling, but keep your Y scaling to a minimum so that it's within the actual texture array that you want to, you know, part of the texture array you want it to map it to. Now I'm not entirely sure how many of these you can actually have. I would imagine that something like 4096 is the highest it would go to, based on what Giants have got. So I would probably stick with that. But you can see that all of these, if I actually select them, they're all now all over the place wherever I've put them. But obviously this cube has got a lot of faces on it, so you know, it's not really going to work for this. I mean, you know, what I would probably say is I would have perhaps maybe this face down here, so we'll go G and Y and just move this one down to here, and then rotate that by 90, something like that. And then this one here would be the same, so I would scale this on the Y, something like that, and then just go G, Y, and move this one down to there like so, and then again same R90, and then this one here, G and Y, move it down to the appropriate place. We can then get my cursor in the right place here, S and Y, and just scale it up a little bit, and then just go R90. So now we have our walls all around, and then this one perhaps maybe would be S and Y to scale it on only on the Y, and then G and Y to move it only on the Y axis, because there's no Z axis, because this is a 2D and this is still a 3D, so you have X, Y and Z, but over here it's just a 2D layout, so it's just X and Y. And then that would be the roof, and then whatever you put on the bottom is up to you. But you know, that's the whole idea. So then now, if I come out of here, I've got my brick walls and my roof, but I'm only using one texture to create the entire lot. And that's the old idea of texture arrays. I don't know yet how to actually put them in a way that they are encrypted. Well, not encrypted, but they're like a proper texture array, like Giants have. But at the end of the day, as we know, it's not impossible to get the textures back out again. If you have the right plugin for GIMP, you can just take what you want. Anybody can find a way if they really want it badly enough. So, you know, but this is the way that I've kind of worked with it, and for the most part it seems to have done the job. Pretty straightforward, I think, in that sense. So that's your texture array for your diffuse, and like I say, do exactly the same for the others. So I would open maybe my specular to start with, hold down left control and zoom in and out with my mouse wheel, and then go to my image canvas size, and then I want to increase the height to 2048, and then bring in my next layer. So I go to this one and bring that one in, deselect it. Important you deselect it. I will try and find this plugin. I don't know if I've got it still. Obviously it's installed in paint.net, but I don't know where it is, where I downloaded it from. I've had it for a very long time. What does that say? Does that give you a HTTP users.telenet.be? And there's a lot of stuff on there. I might be able to find it from there. Then just go align bottom or align vertical to bottom or whatever else, and it will move it down. Next one, so you just go image canvas size, and then what was it, 3072, wasn't it? And then layers, import from file, and do your last one. Deselect, adjust, effects, object align, vertical bottom, and then that's your second array. So now I can just go save as DDS, and I will then just call this array underscore specular dxt1 with bitmap flatten, and you pretty much, there's your second one now. So now we've got array diffuse and our array specular, and exactly the same for the normal.